We're sailing north with our buddy boat Lola B in an area of the huge Indonesian island of Sulawesi very rarely visited by cruising boats. After being the first yachts ever to visit a beautiful little island community at Palopo, we then got belted by a massive storm the following night at Bajawi harbour. Now in this episode we sail, we motorsail, we get our anchor fouled in the harbour at Tanjung Siwa, we motorsail again, and finally we reach our northern destination of Palopo. Come for the ride. We're an Australian couple, Rob and Karen, who worked out before it was too late that life is for living. So we're off sailing to catch our Dreamtime, exploring as many of Indonesia's 17,000 islands as we can. Next on our list is Sulawesi, the world's 11th largest island, remote and far from the usual sailing routes. Its coastline boasts golden sand beaches and hundreds of offshore islands for us to discover, along with many diverse cultural groups. Come along on our journey as we make the most of every single day in Series 5, Dreamtime Sulawesi.
Well, good morning everyone. The sun has come up over the horizon. We are just in the outer harbour of this little, well, it's not quite little, everyone said it was little when I was doing my research. It's quite an extensive little town, more so than a village. So we are heading off another 51 nautical miles. We had hoped to go ashore here yesterday, but that storm, well, that put an end to that, it really did. And the fact that we couldn't get into the inner harbour, so we're a fair distance from the actual town. We're way out here with the ferries, so it's up anchor, unfortunately, and off we go.
One thing about Indonesia, sometimes you sail, a lot of times you motor.
Or motor sail. We've been doing a lot of motor sailing, so we have had winter six.
Yeah, we had.
It hasn't all been motor.
No, we had a nice sail earlier in the day, but as we've got further north, well, we've just sailed out of the wind. The sea's gone flat. We've got the staysail up. Why? Shade.
I mean, one of the nice things though about Indonesia and some of the places that you do sail, there's not a lot of sea state. So when you have light winds,
yeah, you can still get along.
You can still get along quite nicely. So,
yeah.
I mean, there's, yes, you do motor, but look, we've motored in Australia.
Mediterranean, too much wind, not enough wind.
Yeah, exactly. So, it's all good.
It's not exactly unpleasant here at the moment, though.
No.
It's nice and cool on the bow in the shade.
Yeah, that's why the staysail's up.
That's why the staysail's still up. I'm not sure it's really contributing all that
nothing.
much.
But
But it's
Lola B is over there.
and she's just got her mane up, centered.
Motoring along with a centered mane, which is pretty much what we're doing.
So we've done some pretty cool things since we arrived in Sulawesi.
Oh yeah. Birra was a real surprise packet.
I suppose because I researched it for our trip, I sort of knew what to expect, but you really didn't, did you?
No, I knew they built the big timber panisi boats there, and I was looking forward to seeing that. But Birra Beach is absolutely beautiful, powder white sand, and the water everywhere. The water is just so crystal clear.
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
The cliffs, the sea cliffs are spectacular.
And the government's actually, well, the local region government's done quite a good job with their tourism areas that they've got, haven't they?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And how about the islands that we visited on the way?
Lovely first night stop in the islands, in the big reef system.
Yeah, they were gorgeous, weren't they? And they'd never seen yachts.
No.
We were their first ever tourists.
First ever tourist boats to arrive,
Yeah,
as in international tourist boats.
Yeah.
People don't normally come up in this bay in Sulawesi. They tend to go up the east side, across the north and down the west side, but there's this huge horseshoe in the middle, and we're keen to get up to Palopo and do a bit of a side trip up into the mountains and the rainforest and a few things that Karen has researched that are up there. Yeah.
Just looking for fads. Keeping my eyes peeled.
We've got about 2 hours left.
To go into a bay which we have no idea because you put in the name of the town or the village and there is no internet presence of it whatsoever.
Yep, no information on the whole World Wide Web
of this place, so we have no idea what to expect.
We've got a good idea about Anchorage because we've pored over the satellite photos.
Yes.
The charts are fairly useless, but really all we're after is an anchorage for the night, and we'll push on to Palopo tomorrow. We did see some pilot whales trying to school up some fish about an hour ago.
Yep.
So that was a nice little highlight. But this has turned into a beautiful afternoon, even if we aren't kind of sailing.
Yeah.
Can't complain.
Better than mowing lawns.
Definitely better than mowing the grass. No question about that. And
Do you
look,
think there's some storm clouds building?
too early to tell, really. Second afternoon in a row, we head in towards our anchorage and all we see is big dark clouds. We hope we don't get a storm like yesterday's.
I mean, it was the waypoint, but I'm continuously. 40. Okay, slowly rising. We're at 33 and counting down. Gee, I want my radios.
Take your hand signals to mean that she'll move slowly. Roger, mate.
Despite our navionics chart showing us on a drying bank, We actually anchored in about 12 metres of water at Tanjung Siwa in very good holding mud. Or we thought the good holding was due to thick mud. We found out differently early next morning. Oh, the joys. 6 o'clock in the morning we go to pull up the anchor in a clear open area, and of course it's a harbour, so there's been all sorts of things here before, and we've picked up some sort of line, pretty ugly, and we're pretty well stuck on the bottom. So what we're going to do is put a line under that line that we've picked up. There's no way in the world that you could use this to get that off. It just wouldn't happen with a boat hook. So what we're going to do is secure this line that we're hooked on with a rope on the cleat. Then we'll lower our anchor to get it clear of that rope. We can undo one end of the line and let it go. It can go back to its little world on the bottom, and we then should be able to get our anchor up.
It actually looks like a net, Rob, I think.
It does look like a net, or the remnants
of a net, yeah.
The line's suspended there by our rope, and we should be able to get our anchor up and clear. Anchor secure, so now our job is just to get rid of this line.
And we won't be able to pull it up, but we need to let it drop so that we do not get it hooked on the boat.
And now it can go back to the bottom, and we'll get out of here on our way to Palopo. We might have much wind today, but if we can get a little bit of sail assist, we'll take it. We're supposed to have very little wind today, but I'm going to put the mainsail up because quite often we can get a little bit of sail assist out of it. Motor sailing, even if there is only 3 or 4 knots, because if we motor into it at 5, well, you end up with 6 or so. And also, if there's any swell, it just steadies the boat a little bit. Doesn't hurt, we might as well put it up and see how we go. There is a place for motor sailing. We've got a very light westerly wind coming off Sulawesi, and we're motoring north, so what it ends up giving us is 9-10 knots of wind, and it seems to be settling now down closer to that 60 degrees, so we've been able to get the genoa out as well. We've picked up about half a knot, despite the fact that we also eased the engine revs back by about 150 RPM, just save a little bit of fuel. We're now scheduled to get into Palopo in mid-afternoon. Well, we were able to motor sail the first half of this trip, but soon as we turned the corner to head more west-northwest to Palopo, this is what we found. Absolute glass out, no breeze at all, beautiful day, absolutely glorious, but not exactly sailing weather. So the last 4 hours or so, it's just been chug, 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 chug on the engine at low revs. We're going to get in there at about 3:30, 4 o'clock, so plenty of time, plenty of light. We're not exactly sure what we'll find anchorage wise. We've got a couple of spots picked out, and we just expect to be able to hopefully find some nice depth in those, and a nice secure spot to be able to leave our Dreamtime when Daniel and Emma looks after her while we go and do our land travel, and then we will return the favour. But yep, not sailing weather. This is what you get a lot of in Indonesia, and we're getting closer and closer to the equator, so that's to be expected. To be honest, since leaving some Bawa to come up here to Sulawesi, well, we were able to sail most of that trip, which was great, and even from Bira up to here,
I would say we've been able to sail about 40%, which is far better than we expected. We thought we'd be motoring all the way, so we're not complaining too much, and it's just so nice and comfortable. Beautiful day, absolutely gorgeous. So as we've approached Palopo, the entire bay is full of small floats, probably seaweed farm or something similar. And now we're searching for a channel in. We've just watched a local boat come out, and we're going over to where he exited to see whether we can see the entrance to some sort of channel through all of this netting to make our way into hopefully a clear anchorage. But we're going to find out when we get there. We have made it to Palopo. Came in here into the harbour, took a little bit of finding our way through all the fish farming, etc. And we've anchored behind the commercial wharf. Dropped the anchor in 6.5 metres, and we hung back into the shallows, got down to I think 5.5. Holding feels like pretty good holding mud. We've got 45 metres of chain out anyway in just the 6 metres, so we've got plenty out. I'm glad we got in when we did, because there is some rain over the hills. We don't know whether it'll come out over the water as well or not, but it's always nicer when you're not trying to dodge that while you're putting the anchor down. All in all, with the protection of that well, it's virtually a breakwater with a wharf on the end, this is not a bad spot.
This is pretty cool, isn't it?
Very funky.
Very funky, I like it.
Music from the mosque.
Yeah, but I'm going to tell you, the actual music down there that was hopping before was pretty good.
Pretty loud.
It was loud. We could hear it at the boat quite clearly.
Thanks so much for staying with us through to the end. It helps enormously to show YouTube people are interested in our videos. We really appreciate it. Be sure to join us again next episode when we leave our Dreamtime at anchor for a few days and head into Sulawesi's rugged highlands. Here we experience the amazing culture and afterlife rituals of Tanah Toraja. It's not every day we take part in a funeral that rivals any wedding we've ever seen. Toraja funerals, known as Rambu Solo, are massive, vibrant affairs. Think buffaloes, pigs, feasting and music that keep the spirits high, literally and figuratively. Toraja was one of the most intriguing adventures we've ever had.